All right, y'all, welcome to the show. It is Wednesday, September 21st, 2022. Donald Trump is in trouble. So we got the news that this morning, Letitia James, who's the Attorney General of New York, has a, quote, big announcement coming. And, I mean, look, there's probably only one thing that could be about. Now, by the time you're watching this video, we will know what the news is. But it's got to be about Trump's businesses. It's got to be about the tax fraud and insurance fraud and the various cases that are looking into him. And he might be in trouble. Now, I don't know exactly what the penalty is going to be. I don't know if it's going to be a big fine. I don't know if it's going to be the corporate death penalty. But something's going downski. So I'm going to try to do a breaking news video as soon as that drops. Because that's, I mean, the ball is really rolling now. I know back in the day when all the mainstream media outlets would say, the walls are closing in on Donald Trump, all of us would be like, yeah, we've heard this 412 times before, and nothing ever comes to pass. So please, stop getting our hopes up. It ain't happening. Well, look, now it's a fundamentally different situation, and I'm the first to tell you that. So we'll talk about that. Again, by the time you're watching this video, you probably already know what went down. I may even be able to rush out a breaking news video as soon as that news drops. But we'll see. We'll see. But even if nothing comes of that, which I doubt something's going to come of the New York Attorney General announcement, we also have Trump's special master has turned on him. Nobody saw this coming. So Trump was trying to basically slow down the investigation into him happening over the classified documents and the top secret documents. And they were able to get a special master approved by a pro-Trump judge who's basically like this independent party that's going to analyze the documents and say which ones are protected by, like, you know, attorney-client privilege and which ones aren't. And that person is not buying some of the very basic arguments that Trump is putting out there, which is kind of hilarious. Pro-Trump judge tried to help him, and the special master can't even really help Trump because they're so fucking incompetent. We'll get to that in just a little bit. In fact, I'm going to lead with that. And then, of course, got to give you an update on the DeSantis political stunt because it is backfiring massively. Ron DeSantis is now under criminal investigation, joining his idol, Donald Trump. Hilarious. Joe Biden made some comments the other night that has him in some hot water, at least with reasonable people, because he basically said, like, war with China? Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, we might have to do that, talking about Taiwan. So I'm going to break that down for you. I'm going to tell you why a Taiwan invasion from China, which of course would be horrible, is a fundamentally different thing than what we watch with Russia and Ukraine, because our economy is so, tied into the Chinese economy that it would be devastation for everybody involved if we were to go down that path. Then speaking of Russia and Ukraine, I do have an update on that, and much more. Much more, man. My favorite story of the day is probably the based leftist Colombian president giving a speech at the UN and just absolutely annihilating the status quo. So that was a glorious thing to see. I'll share that with you guys. Anyway, all right, let's go ahead and jump into it here. A lot of stuff to get to. So this is in the Daily Beast. They say special master has a simple test that may be disaster for Trump. Special Master Raymond Dearie indicated Tuesday that this case could be very simple and that Trump may be in trouble. Former President Donald Trump's battle with the FBI over its search of Mar-a-Lago has moved from South Florida to New York City, where a court-appointed special master on Tuesday indicated he has a very simple test for whether he sides with the Department of Justice. The special master, Raymond J. Dearie, said Tuesday that if Trump's lawyers don't officially counter whether the documents the former president took are classified, then Dearie will side with the DOJ. Quote, "As far as I'm concerned, that's the end of it," he said. Dearie, a semi-retired federal judge in Brooklyn, who's playing the role of temporary referee, wants to speed up the process and get federal agents back on track. And while Trump has been alleging on social media that he already declassified the records he swiped from the White House, Dearie is demanding that Trump put up or shut up. The senior judge is asking that Trump's team assert in sworn affidavits where lies could mean jail time. whether or not Trump actually declassified them. Okay, so this is interesting. So what's going on here is the special master is saying, okay, the federal government is saying this is classified information. What evidence do they have on their side of the argument? Well, the documents say they are classified. Like, they're literally in classified folders. That's the evidence that the government is presenting. See? Obviously, this is classified information. It says it's classified information. So the special master is saying to Trump, okay, you claim you declassified them. Give me your evidence, and then I'll make a judgment. Now, I don't think the special master could foresee that Trump and his team are so massively incompetent that they didn't actually muck up some sort of evidence to claim that he declassified them. Trump said, oh, I had a standing order to declassify them. That's not the way this stuff works. If you're going to actually declassify them, there's a process that you go through in order to get them declassified. You know, there's paperwork you fill out. By the way, if something is declassified, it's not like Donald Trump can see it and that's it. If something's declassified, anybody can see it. So the argument was kind of absurd on its face, but Trump thought if I have this special master who's appointed by a pro-Trump judge, he's just going to side with me by default. And now this person, even though they may or may not want to help Trump, I don't know, they're now in a position where they're like, dude, even if I wanted to help you, I couldn't help you because the government's argument is so much stronger. They said, hey, this is classified. Their evidence is it's in classified folders, and your response is... So he's in trouble. He's in trouble. Deary said he wasn't going to hurry, but noted that time is of the essence. Deary also cautioned Trump's lawyers not to be coy simply to avoid making mistakes and oversharing potentially damning information. Quote, this is not a criminal case. The plaintiff has the burden of establishing his right to relief, he said. When Trump lawyer James M. Trusty argued his team shouldn't be in a position where we have to disclose declassified defenses, Deary wasn't having any of it. Quote, you can't have your cake and eat it, Deary shot back. Deary is tasked with reviewing the seized documents and analyzing which ones can continue to be used by the Department of Justice to build its case against the former president for putting the nation at risk by keeping more than 100 classified documents at his Palm Beach club long after leaving office. The FBI's investigation, a delicate undertaking that could result in criminal charges against a former president for the first time in American history, has ground to a halt following a bizarre intervention by a federal judge Trump appointed himself. By the way, that shouldn't even be allowed. It should be that if you are appointed by the person whose case you're overseeing, you have to recuse yourself. I mean, this is very basic stuff. So I don't know how many of you guys know this, and this is a slight pivot in the conversation, but the Supreme Court doesn't have a code of ethics. They could basically stay on whatever case they want to stay on, even if there's a clear conflict of interest. That is mental. Okay, you need to have a code of ethics for the Supreme Court. That's obvious. But beyond that, you need a federal law saying that a judge needs to recuse themselves if they're overseeing a case from the president that appointed them. I mean, this is very basic stuff, but, this is unfortunately not the way it works. When Trump sued the United States government, he once led U.S. District Judge Eileen Cannon in Florida earlier this month answered his pleas and, in an opinion that was widely criticized for its intellectual gymnastics, gave Trump exactly what he wanted. That's the special master. Trump, waiving his expired credentials, demanded the return of documents he claimed were protected by a president's executive privilege or by the traditional attorney-client privilege that keeps legal correspondence private. To get that, his attorneys asked for special treatment in the appointment of an arbiter to play referee over the handling of hundreds of government records and some of Trump's personal items. Cannon froze the investigation and called for the appointment of a special master who answers directly to her. See, now that's the other part of this that could be a wrench in the whole thing, is that if the special master has to answer directly to the pro-Trump judge who was appointed by Trump, then yeah, there might be some escape hatches for Trump. But even given those escape hatches, he's already face-planting. Now look, ultimately, the special master won't mean much if the special master truly is just saying, hey, these documents are fair game and these documents are not. Because the fact of the matter is, in all the reporting we learned, not only did Trump take classified and top secret documents, he also had, newspaper clippings from when he was president. That's not against the law. He didn't do anything wrong to save the newspaper clippings. So if the special master is only going to say, hey, the non-classified documents are irrelevant here and you can't bring them up in court, okay, fair enough, right? But who knows? Who knows? At least as of right now, it appears like the special master is being relatively fair and objective, but the pro-Trump judge might intervene at some point and try to, put their finger on the scale for Trump. Trump's legal team put forward 2 candidates, Paul Huck Jr., awesome name, a Florida attorney with a clear conflict of interest because he's married a conservative federal appellate judge who may oversee appeals in the case, and Deary, a well-respected federal judge who once approved the FBI surveillance of Trump associate Carter Page. The Justice Department suggested 2 of its own, but agreed to go with Deary. The senior judge in Brooklyn, who was once appointed as the top federal prosecutor in Brooklyn by former President Ronald Reagan, is going to begin sifting through a gargantuan mountain of evidence. The Justice Department says it has 11,000 documents in question. Jesus Christ. Cannon's order dictates that Deary must distinguish between Trump's personal items, official presidential records that could be subject to executive privilege even though he's out of office, and declassified documents. Deary is also to verify that the FBI's detailed property inventory of things it seized at Mar-a-Lago is actually accurate. He'll be hearing from both sides, making an independent assessment, then sending his recommendations in reports to Cannon down in Fort Pierce, Florida. Deary has been given wide discretion as he can seek answers from the government agency that started this all, the National Archives and Records Administration. Historians there, who are tasked with building an accurate record of each presidency, were alarmed last year when they discovered that the Trump administration simply refused to turn over some materials on the way out. What followed were months of negotiations, an awkward visit to Mar-a-Lago to pick up boxes that should never have been there, and eventually a referral to the FBI when Trump's attorneys stopped answering questions. The DOJ started investigating, formed a grand jury in the nation's capital, and sent subpoenas seeking the return of classified records. Even the counterintelligence chief got involved, heading south in May to see for himself. What he and visiting FBI agents saw there heightened their concerns, leading to the FBI's raid in August. Deary's review is meant to be limited to that FBI search, although anything he determines could have lasting implications on the investigation and could corner Trump into admitting a crime. On Monday evening, Trump attorney James Trusty wrote to Deary, warning that his requests for additional details have already gone well beyond Cannon's order and would force Team Trump to, quote, fully and specifically disclose a defense to the merits of any subsequent indictment. Deary also shows that he wants to speed things up. Okay, so we don't need to go through all this here, but you guys get the gist of it. Trump's special master is showing some signs that they are not interested in being a mindless Trump sycophant. That is a good thing. Again, a wrench that could be thrown into this thing, which screws the whole thing up, is that apparently they have to answer to that judge that is pro-Trump. So will the judge get involved in a way that puts their finger on the scale on the side of Trump? That's yet to be seen. But as of right now, the government is sitting pretty. Because the government's like, these are classified. They're in classified folders. The special master says, Trump, what's your evidence that they're declassified? And the Trump team response was, see, what happened was me and Craig and them was down by the Safeway and the sun was in our eyes and we thought that we had declassified them, but we didn't really declassify them, but he was president, so when he's president, it could just say it's declassified, and then when you say it's declassified, it's basically declassified. So I don't even know why we're talking about this or why we're here. Can you please let us go? This is the place that we're at. So it's getting interesting. It's getting interesting yet again. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.